सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणा ललिता श्री जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे साधु साधु श्री बृहद भागवतामृतम Part 2, Chapter 4, entitled Vaikunta, the Spiritual Kingdom, text number 47. So now we are discussing Gopakumara's journey to Vaikunta. Text number 47. Te nirvikaratha prantha सीमां प्राप्ताश्च तन्वते विक्राललीलया चित्रान् प्रभुलीलानुसारिणः. Those devotees have attained the absolute limit of changelessness, yet they playfully show all kinds of transformations while taking part in their Lord's pastimes. So before this there was discussion on hierarchy in the Vaikuntha world among the devotees or among the residents of Vaikuntha. So here it speaks, this verse speaks about transformations. So we see that what was that? This is means basically this is coming to the point of whether our rasa, our sambandha with the Lord changes in the Vaikuntha. So on that, those devotees have attained the absolute limit of changelessness. So here you see changelessness, absolute limit of changelessness. So there should not be change in their form, in their relationship, in their rasa, etc. But yet they playfully show all kinds of transformations while taking part in their Lord's pastimes. Actually, here the word is Sanskrit word which is there, Prabhu Leelanusarinaha, in accordance with the pastimes of the Lord. Translation should be. So that goes to the point that they may change, their form may change, things may change as according to Krishna's desire. So ultimate principle in relationship with Krishna is what pleases Krishna. So they do whatever pleases to Krishna. In Vrindavan we see that sometimes Krishna or covered boys, they change their forms just to please Krishna. Now if Krishna and Radharani have to meet, then a covered boy will enter into the house of Radharani in the form of a calf, and he will become Radharani there, and actual Radharani will take the form of calf and come out and meet Krishna. So in this way they may change their forms, they may change their rasas if it is in accordance with Krishna's pastimes, if it is going to please Krishna. So that is the principle. Sometimes neophyte devotees ask this question, can we change because they want to become gopis only in Krishna's pastime. they want to dance with Krishna. But our acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they explained that instead of going to Vrindavan, we should go to Kurukshetra, they say, because in Vrindavan already there are so many gopis, covered boys, covered men, women, everyone. So there is enough people to serve Krishna in Vrindavan, but in Kurukshetra there are less people. So Kurukshetra means figuratively it is meant outside Vrindavan or this material world, where a lot of preaching activities have to be done. So that was the mood of our acharyas, that Gaudiya acharyas. So not like among Gaudiyas, means the supposed Gaudiyas, those who are Sahajiya Sampradaya, they want to go to Vrindavan, they want to meditate on pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But instead of that, we should take the role of Arjuna. We should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to fight on behalf of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, he made a statement, I want a benediction to fight like Arjuna till the last breath of my life. So that is a mode of our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But these neophyte devotees and Sahajiyas, they want to become gopis and dance with Krishna. Anyway, no harm. In both types of Supreme Lord's pastimes, those predominated by the mood of opulence and those predominated by sweetness, the devotees who take part pretend to undergo transformation just to create the varieties that give the Lord pleasure. So, ultimately, in relationship, rasa, Krishna's pleasure is what matters. In Vaikuntha, there are no forces of nature to impel anyone to do anything he doesn't want to. The only force impelling the devotees is pure love, which makes them act exclusively for the pleasure of Lord Narayana. So here in Vaikuntha, there are no forces of nature to impel anyone to do anything he doesn't want to. In the material world, what happens? We see that verse is there in Bhagavad Gita. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma karta hamiti manyate. So, actually people think that I am doing. Actually, he is not doing. He is influenced by these three modes of nature. And helplessly being forced by these powerful modes of nature, living entity helplessly acts in this world. But out of false ego, he thinks that I am doing everything. I am doing means I am the doer, means I am able to do everything according to my will, he says. So it's only his false ego, it's his only illusion it is. So later again Arjuna asked, so atakyena prayukto yam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Sometime we see these young boys and girls, they start doing some bad habit. And initially they think that, okay, I'll just do it as a fashion, just to show up. And I am so self-controlled that I can stop this anytime. But later they end up becoming slaves of those bad habits. So it is only out of false ego he thinks that I can stop it anytime, at my will. I am so self-controlled, like that. But later they realize they end up becoming slaves of those bad habits. And nowadays, so many drug addicts. Now presently, all over India, it's a big news that some cinema actresses are caught in drug peddling, drug trafficking, drug abuse, etc. So it's only false ego. And anyway, in the in the 17th chapter, there is description. So swabhava, about swabhava, our nature, we speak of nature. So we acquire certain swabhava, certain nature, due to our karmas, our activities in the past life. And this swabhava is very strong and powerful. It is very difficult to overcome. Although it is said there in the 17th chapter, beginning only, that it can be changed. Prabhupada says that. And it's possible to change, of course, but it is very difficult to change. And based on this swabhava only, these divisions are made: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But in Kali Yuga, because mode of tamaguna, ignorance is very dominant, we don't see that Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, all are below Shudra actually. They are Naradamas in modern society. They are Naradamas, they are Dvipada Pashus, they are Varna Sankaras. Naradama means, you understand, two-legged animals. I mean, literal meaning is lowest among mankind, Nara Adama. And Dvipada Pashu means they are two-legged animals. And Varna Sankara means, Prabhupada, he defines Varna Sankara in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna used that word. Those who are not eligible to take part in Varnashram Dharma. Varnashram Dharma, Prabhupada, he says, human civilization begins with Varnashram Dharma. He says that means they are not eligible to take part in actual human society. So this is a modern society, is a perverted human society, degraded human society. Prabhupada often he used to use different visheshanas to describe this rascal civilization, misdirected civilization, degraded civilization. So animal civilization, like that. Civilization of hawks and dogs, like that. Okay, so this is how. But in Vaikuntha it is not like that. No forces of nature to impel anyone. So what is that which is impels there? What dominates their whole mode of action? So it is just love for Krishna or Vishnu, love for Lord Narayana. Or Narayana's pleasure is what dominates. So they are always busy how to please Lord Narayana. Text 48. Atastenyonyam ekatvam gata api pratagvidaha tatsthanam sa vimanogas tatratyam sarvamidrisham. Thus, although equals, they manifest individual variety. In that place, everything is so, including the profusion of aeroplanes. Thus, although equals, they manifest individual variety. So, individuality is eternal. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that. And our acharyas, although Shankaracharya himself wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita to negate all individuality. But our acharyas very vehemently refuted Shankara's false notions and presented that how individuality of living entities is eternal. So Prabhupada would basically quote two verses in this connection. One is second chapter, 12th verse. Natveva ham jatunasam natvam neme janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayam mataparam. Not that never there was a time when I did not exist, you nor this, or these kings who have assembled in this battlefield, and nor in future that we shall all cease to exist. Then he would quote 15th chapter verse number 7. Anyone remembers what is 15th chapter verse number? Mamayavamsha jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. Living entities are sanatana, eternal they are. Eternal means they are eternally individuals. It's not that only one Brahman is there. So Ekatmavada. That Ekatmavada means there is only one soul, Brahman, and he has transformed into all these living entities. Or these living entities are in illusion. I don't know how they speak all these words, living entities and all these kind of things. Very word speak. Using such terms itself is a logical fallacy actually. Just using these terms, living entities, illusion, to think that I and you and all others are different individuals. Just by stating that living entities, they may not be using it, because Mayavad is when we speak of Mayavad, we speak it in a very simplistic terms. They use all that. It's a big, grand narrative, what is called as grand narrative. They use all kinds of grand words to describe. So they may not use plural. We are using plural living entities in our epistemological analysis. It's not epistemological. What we hermeneutical, we can say. Okay, text 48. We are reading text. So commentary. Because the personality of Godhead wants to enjoy varied pastimes, his devotees, who are all essentially equal on the platform of pure spiritual existence, assume different forms and positions in his service. So they assume different forms, positions. They may change their rasas there just for the pleasure of Krishna. Even the apparently intimate things of Vaikuntha are of the same transcendental nature. Thus the aeroplanes, trees, houses, and so on are all perfect living beings, qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, and with all other living persons they appear in whatever forms the Lord requires for his pleasure. Okay, so here you see that thus although equals they manifest individual variety. In that place everything is so, including the provision of aeroplanes. I only discussed the first line of the translation. Second line, in that place everything is so, including the provision, whether it is the Lord's resting place, bed, you can say, his couch, his bed, his asana, his simhasana, his throne, everything is Chinmaya there, Chinmaya, Ananda Chinmaya. So there are words. This Chinmaya word is very, in Vedic parlance, used frequently. And this word is called Achit, and that is Chit Jagat. And this word is called as Achit Jagat. So everything is Chinmaya there. Chinmaya means everything is living there. It's not gross, dead matter. Jada, Chinmaya and Jada are opposite words. Basically Chinmaya means conscious. Everything is conscious there. That means living. Everything is living there. Including the profusion of aeroplanes. That aeroplanes are also living there. They are also conscious beings. And according to the requirements, whether it is Lord's palace, whether it is Lord's throne, whether it is Lord's ornaments, whether it is Lord's aeroplane, they may change their forms according to the convenience and pleasure and the comfort of the Lord actually. So this is the speciality of the aeroplanes in Vaikuntha. So text 49. Kadachit swarna ratnadi mayam tat pratiyate kadachit cha ghani bhuta chandra jyotsneva kakhati. Sometimes that place appears full of riches like gold and jewels, and sometimes its atmosphere appears chalk white like a thick condensation of moonlight. So more details about that place, Vaikuntha. So commentary: gold, jewels and moonlight are among the greatest fascinations in the material world. So Swarna Ratnadi Mayam Tat Pratiyate Kadachit Ghani Bhuta Chandra Jyotsneva Kakkati. So gold, jewels and moonlight are among the greatest fascinations in the material world. Prabhupada told, now it's all plastic civilization. Present civilization is a plastic civilization. And women like to wear a lot of jewelry, naturally. So Prabhupada, he would say, what kind of husbands in modern society, they cannot please their wife with gold and jewelry. Previously there was a lot of gold and jewelry. What happened to all of that? It all got locked up in reserve banks, I think. So what to speak of gold and jewelry? Traditionally in India, women, Vedic culture, women would wear lots of flowers. But where are the flowers nowadays? So moonlight are among the greatest fascinations. Yet they only dimly reflect the infinity varied attractions of Vaikuntha atmosphere. So now, you see, Taj Mahal is a beautiful monument, but it appears even more beautiful in the moonlight, right? Because moonlight it spreads beauty. It's very beautiful, fascinating it is. Another reason is moon gives another speciality of the moon is he gives a soothing coolness. Moon gives. So people like to enjoy moonlight in this material world. So, but in Vaikuntha it is abundantly available, and as Lord desires, according to his desire. So here it is regulated by seasons or whatever. In the material world it is regulated. You can't expect every time moonlight. So, but there it is. Whenever Lord wants, the moonlight is there. So text 50. Katanchit tat prabhavena vidnyatam syana chanyata grahitam kila tadrupam manasapi na shakyate. Vaikuntha may be somehow understood only by its own spiritual influence and not otherwise. Indeed, even the mind cannot grasp its form. Now, before we go ahead, I would like to remember one statement of Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita as it is purport in that verse. Na tad bhasayate suryo na sashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante taddhama paramamava. So Krishna speaks about his supreme abode, that neither sunlight, moonlight, or fire or electricity, as translated by Srila Prabhupada, is necessary in Vaikuntha. It is self-effulgent abode. Krishna's abode is Vaikuntha or Golaka, whatever spiritual word is. So in the purport Prabhupada he said that one should be attracted by this kind of descriptions. So the purpose of describing all these abodes is what? What is the purpose? Just to attract us. And our Acharyas, Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they used this phrase called back home, back to Godhead. It's our actual home. We have to go back home, back to Godhead. Now we are away from home. We should be attracted. So here this description of Vaikuntha is given here by Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamritam. One point here, Vaikuntha may somehow understand only by its own spiritual influence, not otherwise. Just like Krishna's form cannot be understood by Krishna's form, name, form, qualities, etc. cannot be understood by our blunt material senses. अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेद ग्राह्यम इंद्रिय सेवन मुखे ही जिह्वादो स्वयं एव स्फुरत्यदा. So when we start yoga with a tongue, people want to do yoga with a different bodily parts. And they want to do this vyayam exercises. They call it as yoga. But there is yoga of tongue, beginning with the tongue. That is by chanting the holy names or by glorifying Krishna and by taking prasadam, Krishna prasadam. The bhakti yoga begins with the tongue. It's a yoga of tongue in the beginning it is. So when we begin that, being pleased by that, and Lord will not be pleased by any other yogas. You do other yogas, you may stand upside down, you can keep pressing the nose left, right, but Krishna won't be pleased by that. Krishna becomes pleased only by bhakti yoga. So when Krishna becomes pleased, he reveals himself to us. Otherwise there is no way. That is all confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Bhaktya mama vijanati yavan yashami tatvatah tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. So only my devotee can understand me in truth, tatvatah, as I am. So that another verse is Bhaktyat vanannaya sakya idam evam vido arjuna jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. So only by devotional service one can know Krishna or see Krishna or enter into understanding of Krishna. So often in Bhagavad Gita we see that there is super excellence of devotional service over other spiritual practices. Means description of the super excellence of devotional service over other practices. So in this way only by, and in that verse Atha Shri Krishna Naam Adi. Adi means Krishna's abode also. Krishna's abode also cannot be appreciated with blunt material senses. So Prabhupada would often he would say, we cannot even see the end of this universe, what to speak of seeing the spiritual world. So our material scientists and cosmologists or astrophysicists, they are depressingly entangled in the idea that we can see everything with our naked eyes or with the help of our instruments. Depressingly entangled in that foolish idea. So we cannot explain their foolishness in human words. So it's a basic thing. Our Krishna conscious philosophy, it begins with the thesis that seeing is not believing, or logic is insubstantial, or material senses are imperfect. So our philosophy begins, our knowledge, our epistemology begins with this. So, but they are terribly, their ultimate epitome of their epistemology is that we can learn everything by seeing. So this is their foolishness. Okay, so coming to the point, Vaikuntha may be somehow understood only by its own spiritual influence. So another point here is that just from the previous, if you see from the context of the previous verses, because everything is conscious, even the abode of the Lord is also conscious. So Dham of the Lord will reveal itself only to those persons who are submissively engaged in the service of Krishna, only by their spiritual influence. So just like in first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada he makes, I can just paraphrase it. So the complete whole, something like that he says, complete whole reserves the right to not to reveal to the challenging spirit of the insignificant part of the complete whole, like that, something, some statement he makes. So similarly, Dham of the Lord is also being a conscious person. Dham also reserves the right to not to reveal to our challenging spirit of our dear cosmologists, astrophysicists, or any non-devotees of Krishna. Indeed, even the mind cannot grasp its form. Its mind is beyond manasa api na shakyate. So why specifically it is told about mind actually? Mental speculation. Someone may speculate about, like we were discussing that, somebody may sit and speculate about the aeroplanes. Aeroplanes according to Eurocentric theory. So Wright brothers were the first one to make aeroplanes, which is completely a bogus idea. Bogus theory it is. It's a frog in the well attitude actually. Because deliberately they wiped out all the history which doesn't fit into biblical chronology, because Bible, according to Bible, God created world 6,000 years back. A whole world history has to be reconciled, or it should be refitted into 6,000 years. And now because that gave rise to Eurocentrism, and whatever they did in Europe, that are the first things. They became, they are the first inventors, first founders. So in this way, Eurocentrism became dominant in the world. Now, even in Indian children, so if they are taught, they are taught that Wright brothers are the first one to, and all this description in the Vedic scriptures about aeroplanes or space travel, all these things are all mythology. But here the point is that manasa pi na shakyate. Someone may conceive some material object by his speculation. Like previously I mentioned that someone has conceived this idea of aeroplane itself means that there should be something, such a kind of object actually. But the spiritual world it's beyond even speculation. One cannot speculate. What is there in the spiritual world? One cannot speculate. So Prabhupada, when he was asked about many questions, when he was questioned about spiritual world, Prabhupada would say, you will come to know when you go back there. So he would not tell, because it's beyond our speculation, what is there and what is not there. One can understand the Lord of Vaikuntha and know the various locations of his pastimes only when he reveals himself by his special potencies such as Karunya, mercy. Devotees favored by the Lord can use their spiritual intelligence to infer something about the nature of Vaikuntha by comparison with things they have seen, touched, and otherwise encountered in the material world. And devotees fully purified can perceive Vaikuntha directly. The external mind and senses, however, can never discern the spiritual existence. One therefore has no right to speak as an authority on that existence unless one has been granted insight by the Lord's mercy potency. So we see in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also. So 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is what? It's universal form. Universal form means it is description of universities. So sometime it is figuratively discussed, or it is compared with a Lord's form. It is compared with Lord's form, universal form, but it's basically cosmology. It is, and we see in the beginning, what is in the beginning of 11th chapter, Arjuna was given special vision to see that. So we cannot see that with our blunt eyes or even with our instruments. through satellite pictures or sitting in our observatories, we may get some data about the different cosmos and all those, trying to wasting our life, human life, and poor children and students are taught all these speculations about the universe and cosmos. So we need a special vision, and ultimately all knowledge is revealed it is not that we can make up some knowledge actually through our endeavors, through our research and all these things. So most of the scientific inventions, they were not a result of a step-by-step analysis. They were due to sudden inspirations, like we say Archimedes principle, people study, So he was taking bath in the tub, and I don't know how true is that story, but anyway. So they tell the story that he was taking bath and suddenly he understood and he ran out saying Eureka, 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 like that. But there are many other examples to prove this point, that inventions are not because of step-by-step analysis, they were due to sudden inspiration. So they are all revealed. In Bhagavad Gita we see some examples we can take, that it is said that Niels Bohr, he found the structure of the atom in his dream. Similarly, Benjamin ring. So like that, there are many such examples that how inventions are due to sudden inspiration, or they are revelations. So ultimately all knowledge is revealed. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am sitting in the heart of all living entities. I give knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness. Sarvasya chaham radhisam nivishto matta smritir jnanam apovanam cha vedescha sarve rahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda vide. So like that Krishna says. So ultimately Krishna has to reveal everything. Then only. About spiritual world also Krishna has to reveal. Now many people may claim, they may say something and they may claim that, oh, this is revealed knowledge, they may say. But there are certain characteristics of a knowledge, bona fide knowledge. Certain characteristics of knowledge. What is knowledge? It is defined in Bhagavad Gita. So then only we should accept it as knowledge. Otherwise, there is no point in that. Right? So one basic symptom is that knowledge brings us happiness and liberation. So that is some basic symptom of knowledge. So for example, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave this knowledge of the soul. By giving that knowledge, Krishna wanted to deliver Arjuna from lamentation, shoka. Oh, I am going to lose all these people in this battle, my relatives, friends, brothers, etc. So Krishna wanted to deliver him from that ignorance. So make him happy. Literally Arjuna was crying. We see up to the 2.30 tears were flowing from his eyes. Again and again. Later it does a Mashucha word, he stops. Don't lament. That means he was consoling him. He was sitting like a baby, he was sitting and crying, Arjuna, on the battlefield. So Kshatriya. So Krishna consoles. And after 2.30 we don't see Mashucha word coming there. Later. That shows that he stopped crying, but then he was hearing Bhagavad Gita. So, by knowledge, what he is doing? So he is liberating him from ignorance and suffering, basically suffering. That is one basic symptom of perfect knowledge. Otherwise, it's all ignorance. So presently, what is taught as knowledge in schools, universities, it's all ignorance, because it's leading people of this world into more and more into suffering and suffering and suffering and suffering. People are suffering. They are in such a illusion, or they are indoctrinated in such a way that they don't even realize that they are suffering actually. Okay, next. Some more time we'll continue. Text 51. Na kaschit prabhaved bhodhum samyak svanubhavam vina etan matram hi shakyeta nirupayutumanjasa. Except by direct experience, no one can rightly understand Vaikuntha. No more than this can I accurately describe. So, na kaschit prabhaved bodhum samyak svanubhavam vina. Here, except by direct experience, no one can rightly understand Vaikuntha. You see, here direct sense perception, direct svanubhavam, direct perception is considered as highest proof here. But this is different from the pratyaksha pramana which we talk. There are three kinds of evidences called pratyaksha, anumana and shabda. Sometimes they are called there are 10 also. These three are again divided into 10. Jiva Goswami, he talks about 10 kinds of pramanas. So these three are pratyaksha, anumana and shabda. Pratyaksha means direct perception. So in the material world, that means it's a direct sense perception. Perception through these material blunt senses actually and mind. Second one is actually anumana. Anumana is more of like speculation, hypothesis, using logic, reason, etc. So then third one is Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana means Vedic evidence. Vedic evidence. There are three kinds of evidences. So, but here when Sanatana Goswami, he uses direct experience, this is different from this direct sense perception which we speak about, Pratyaksha Pramana. Why? Because here, if you take from by its own spiritual influence, when we engage in bhakti, from the previous verse context, if you take, when we engage in devotional service, our senses become purified. When our senses completely become spiritualized, that experience is what Sanatana Goswami is describing here. So, even if we are hearing from Shabda Praman, oh, Vaikuntha is like this, Vaikuntha is like that, unless we directly experience that, how we can really understand it? It is that there is a saying, no? The real taste of what is that saying? English saying is there? Real state of fudding is in eating, like that. So, like that it is. If you want, we may describe very analytically what is gulab jamun, but unless we eat it, then we will not be able to understand it. Similarly, Vaikuntha, we may hear about it from Shabda, but what we can understand with these material senses and mind actually, unless we directly experience it ourselves. And when we directly experience it, we don't need any other proof actually. We don't need any other proof. No more than this can I accurately describe. So now, Gopakumara, he says, he is telling to his student, This is actually narration of Gopakumara himself. What we are reading is narration by Gopakumara. Oh, sorry. A conditioned soul may discover the transcendental world of Vaikuntha, but only if he sees that higher reality for himself. By hearing from someone who has seen Vaikuntha, one may gain only a glimmer of understanding. So like I said, we should give titles to this lectures as glimpses of Vaikuntha. We cannot fully explain it. We cannot fully make it realize unless the person himself, the hearer, like you are all hearing. Only when you go to Vaikuntha and experience it, then only you can understand what it is. Then also you may not understand everything because we are limited. Vaikuntha is non-different from Krishna. It is unlimited. It is. By hearing from someone who has seen Vaikuntha, one may gain only a glimmer of understanding. Nonetheless, when a devotee aspiring from Lord's service hears the pure instructions of his self-realized spiritual master and faithfully practices the disciplines such a guru recommends, a devotee gradually becomes pure in heart. But still we should hear about Vaikuntha, whatever is there, whether we may understand or not understand. We should hear about, because one of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya is that Lord's abode is not different from Lord himself. Tadhama Vrindavanam. What is that? That Srinath Chakravarti, Chaitanya, the book which is written by Srinath Chakravarti, Chaitanya Manjusa, Chaitanya Mani Manjusa, something like that, Chaitanya Manjusa. So, he was one of the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Maybe he appeared after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, he summarized the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Va Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. There are two different versions of this verse actually. So basically, our worshipable Lord is son of King of the Vraja, Vrajendra Nandana, and his abode is not different from him. And the mode of worship which is conceived by gopis is the highest. Then what? So Srimad Bhagavatam is highest pramana. Like that it is said. So basically, in that verse it says that Lord's abode is not different from the Lord. Just by hearing about Lord, we become purified of all material contaminations. So it is, what is that? It says, Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ratkarna rasayana kata thajoshanadya dapavarga vartmani shraddha ruchir bhaktiranukramishati. It is said that Satam, in the association of devotees, if you hear about the glorious activities of the Lord, so we go towards liberation, apavarga, vartmani, and gradually we develop Shraddha, Rati, and Bhakti, love of Krishna, faith, attachment, and love of Godhead. So this is Tadvirya Rasayana Kata. Rasayana Kata means, this Kata is a medicine actually. Rasayana means meaning medicine. It's a medicine for our material disease. So similarly, if you hear about the abode of the Lord, so it is medicine for our material existence, Bhava Roga. Material existence is called as Bhava Roga. It is a disease of material existence. So like that. And when his faith sufficiently matures, he can see the spiritual world. Only by that direct perception does knowledge become perfect. Casual hearing, even from those who have seen the truth, is not enough. One must become a disciple of such an authority and accept the disciplines that lead to self-realization. Now, the point here is that, okay, just by hearing we cannot understand everything about Vaikuntha. Then I will go there and then I will go there and then I will see it like that. But to go there, you have to follow a certain procedure, certain spiritual practice, beginning with Ado Guru Ashrayam, like that. Teshu vai dhrashamaneshu tadbrahmano bhave sukam gachatsu tucchatam sadhyo rih yeva viramet swayam. When one sees those splendors of Vaikuntha, the happiness realized in Brahman at once seems empty, and as if from sheer embarrassment, on its own it disappears. So, what to speak of seeing Vaikuntha? Even just this beginning, this process of bhakti, the happiness which we get actually. Of course, it's not a beginning stage. When we come to the stage of bhava, in bhakti, what happens? Moksha lagutakrita. So there are 6 characteristics of bhakti. You all know: klesha, agni, shubhada, moksha, lagutakrita, sudhurlabha, sandranando, visheshatma, Shri Krishna karshani chasa. So this is a verse by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which says there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Kleshagni means bhakti burns all the miseries, material miseries. Then Shubhada, all auspiciousness appears in the devotee's life. So again, Shubhada is divided into 4. Devotee becomes very attractive, then he engages in welfare activities, he develops good qualities, and he is always happy. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, he feels that world is filled with bliss. Our devotee's world is filled with bliss. So he is not feeling that, he is not feeling hellish condition of life, which most of the living beings in this world experience. Sometimes they are so badly illusioned that they don't even realize it. Anyway, that is Shubhada, all auspiciousness. Then there is moksha lagutakrita. Liberation becomes insignificant. And 4th one is very rarely attained. This kind of bhav bhakti is rarely attained. Then 3rd or 4th one is devotee. 5th one is devotee experiences condensed happiness, Andhra Ananda Visheshatma, and he attracts Krishna also. Or that devotee's bhakti attracts Krishna also. Shri Krishna Karshanichas. Now again it is told that first 2 are manifest at the stage of sadhana bhakti, because bhakti is divided into 3. So sadhana, bhava and prema. First 2 characteristics appear at the stage of sadhana. Second characteristics appear at the stage of bhava, and third characteristics appear at the stage of prema. So moksha lagutakrita. It is described about moksha lagutakrita that liberation becomes insignificant. Liberation, moksha lagutakrita, he uses another word for that. It is called as Brahmananda. Brahmananda, happiness of attaining Brahman. Because moksha can be understood in different way. Even attaining the stage of Brahma Bhuta, that I am not this body, I am spirit soul. That experience that I am different from this body, or this indifference to the body and bodily, demands, bodily platform is called as Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta means realization that I am spirit soul. I am not the product of this material world. So, whatever happiness he experiences at that stage, it's a Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. It's a Prasanna Atma stage it is actually, because na shochati na kankshati. There is no hankering, because when he is on the platform of the soul, he is on a spiritual platform, he doesn't have material hankerings, actually, material desires, because all the desires are connected with the material body and senses are because we identify ourselves with this body and senses. So I am this body, which is composed of so many senses, and fulfilling the desires of these senses is my goal of life. So that is Jiva Bhuta stage. Brahma Bhuta and Jiva Bhuta, there are two words are there. So Brahma Bhuta stage, in that Brahma Bhuta stage, one has no hankerings. And if he loses something, he doesn't lament for that. Na shochati, na kankshati. Kankshati means hankering, shochati means lamenting. So we lament for those things which we lose. And we are hankering for those things which we don't have. So ultimately it is all material attachment, attachment. And attachment is due to identification, false identification with the material world. So in this way, Brahma Bhuta stage. So he experiences great bliss actually. That is called as Brahmananda. So if you multiply this Brahmananda Bhavet, so Rupa Goswami says with Parartha, millions, Parartha means how many? There is unlimited digits, but there is a specific digit number. What is that the other day? 10 raised to 17. 17. So Parartha is 10 raised to 17. If you multiply this Brahmananda with a Parartha, then also it cannot match with the happiness or the bliss of bhakti, a drop of bliss of bhakti actually. So that is the greatness of bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada in the beginning, a hippie, he asked, what is the happiness of Krishna consciousness? And Prabhupada said, it's an ocean of LSD, he says. Or LSD is nothing to do with bhakti, actually, Krishna consciousness, because one of the beginning stage only, even what to speak of attaining bhakti, just to be a human being, one has to follow the injunction of no intoxication. So what to speak of a devotee, just to be a human being, proper gentleman. So it is because intoxication breaks the pillar of dharma, one of the pillars of dharma. So therefore, just to be a human being, proper human being, one has to give up intoxication. So it has nothing to do with LSD, but that hippie only understands the happiness of LSD. He doesn't know have any other happiness. So, and therefore he wants to, Prabhupada, he basically explains to him in his own terms that it's happiness of Krishna consciousness is ocean of LSD, he says. So it's unlimited, it is unlimited. So then one sees Vaikuntha, happiness realized in Brahman at once seems empty. Or before going to Vaikuntha, you may get attracted to many other places before that. Of course, if you get attracted, you will not reach Vaikuntha. But you may, and even there should not be lamentation that, oh, I am losing all the happiness of other realms, other material realms, to reach Vaikuntha. That is a disqualification to go to Vaikuntha. Like Prabhupada said, sannyasi should not regret, he says. That is a qualification of sannyasi. Sannyasi should not regret. Oh, why I took to sannyas. I could have enjoyed the association of beautiful women. I could have enjoyed material luxurious life. That kind of regretfulness comes means he is not a sannyasi. He is not fit to be a sannyasi. Or you should not. That regretness also can manifest in the form of envy for materialistic people, those who are trying to enjoy in this material world. That is, he is disqualified. So it is told about Goswami, Tyaktva thu namashesha mandalapatim shrenim sada tuchchavat. Tuchcha, considering that to be insignificant, they gave up all their material positions and opulence. Tuchchavat, that feeling that it is tuchcha, it is insignificant. Yan maitunadi gramedi sukam hi tuchcham. The happiness of this maituna, sex life. Sex is considered highest actually. Everyone, whatever they are doing in the material world is meant for sex. The main focal point is sex. One day I will achieve. They are hoping after hope. Durashaya means hoping after hope. That one day I will get lots of happiness in sex. Like that they are hoping one day. Sometimes they think that, oh, if I can enjoy lots of women, then I will have lots of sex pleasure. Or they may, if they are married, they may think that, oh, I am not getting pleasure from this woman. Let me change, go to another woman. So like that they are thinking like that. So the whole material world is driven by such desire. So that is a focal point. That is a driving force behind everything in this world, material world. But sannyasi should not be like that. He should not regret. That is a qualification of to be a sannyasi. So like that. So once we go to Vaikuntha, then everything seems empty. Here it is a word, one at once seems empty, means shunya itam jagat sarvam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling that actually. Yeah, here the word has come. Sutucham, tuchatam sadyo. We are discussing tucham word, right? Tucham, material pleasure, sex pleasure is tucham. And Maitanadi, Sutucham, this word is used. And particularly here, Brahmananda is considered as Sutucham. Sutucham. Not material. Material happiness is no consideration at all actually. It's not even consideration here. Once you go to Vaikuntha, even Brahmananda, happiness of being in that Brahma Jyoti, that also becomes our Brahma Bhuta stage, attaining Brahma Bhuta stage, that also becomes insignificant. What to speak of material pleasure? Material pleasure is nowhere consideration at all here. And the word su is used here. Su tucham, very visheshana is used. Prefix is used. As if for sheer embarrassment, on its own it disappears. Sheer embarrassment here. That example is there of Yamunacharya. Yamunacharya says, no, that Tadavadi mama Krishna padara vinde navanava rasadhamani udyatam rantumasit tadavadi batanari sangame. It should start Yadavadi mama. Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde or Navanavarasadhamani udyatam rantumasit tadavadi batanari sangame smaryamani bhavati mukha vikaro sustu nishti. So, of course, that again is example of material pleasure. It is how he is feeling embarrassed when thought comes, or sheer embarrass. Means it is just he is spitting on that. He is feeling tucham actually, basically. After a purified Vaishnava has realized the glories of Vaikuntha and its inhabitants, the prospect of impersonal realization loses all attraction. It simply disappears like the stars at dawn. So the comparison in the purport, in the commentary you see. So like the stars at dawn, stars are visible in the night, and when dawn comes, and everything disappears. So now bhakti is also compared like that, Bhakti is compared to sun. It burns away all the... So it is compared to a fire, or it is compared to sun also. Just like when sun appears, all the fog is dissipated. In Bhagavatam it is said. How it starts? Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agam gunvanti karsnena niharam yava bhaskara. Nihara means what? Fog. Bhaskara means sun. So just like sun appears, then all the fog is dissipated. In that purport, Jiva Goswami, in that Bhagavatam verse purport, this is from 6th canto, 1st chapter, verse number 14 or 15, it is 15 or 16, one of those verses. In that purport of Jiva Goswami, he says, what to speak of sun actually appearing? Even the initial rays of the sun dissipates all the fog. Sun has not actually appeared, just that initial. We can say Arunodaya. Aruna is a chariot driver of sun god. When Arunodaya means sun has not appeared, still chariot driver has come now first. Like that it is. So then everything is disappeared. So what Jiva Goswami wanted to say, what to speak of actual bhakti, even the initial stages of bhakti will dissipate all the fog here is compared with ignorance, or it's compared with material karmic reactions actually. Is basically Kleshagni. I told Kleshagni happens at the stage of sadhana only. That is the initial stage of bhakti actually. It's not actually bhakti if you want. So some of our acharyas have described actual bhakti is at the stage of bhava only. Our actual bhakti starts from that verse also we quoted, that Brahma bhuta prasanna atmana shochitena kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. Brahma bhuta stage is considered as eligibility of bhakti. Mad bhakti labate param. It is para bhakti, param bhakti. So like that. Okay, we'll stop here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Any questions, comments?
Einstein discovered gravity.
Einstein, Newton it is.
Newton. Apple fell. That also is like that we can consider an inspiration.
Yeah, we may say, we may take it like that, obviously. He saw the apple falling down. Then he thought, okay, there is some force which is so like that. Then
you said most of the scientific discoveries are not a result of step by step.
Why? Because previously they attempted to find something, but they didn't. They all failed again and again. After repeated trials, one day suddenly it happened. Most of them, if you study the history of inventions and discoveries, if you see. Of course, this whole discussion applies only to Eurocentric world, Eurocentric theories actually, because Vedic culture, all Vedic knowledge was there. It's all coming down in parampara. All the knowledge is coming. It's eternally there, according to Vedic parlance, if you see, or Vedic worldview. So Veda is eternal, knowledge is eternal. It is not that one day Veda knowledge started actually. It's not that one day knowledge started. Veda is eternal. So it comes down by parampara. So they learn it as it is.
Last time in also the example that when devotee was studying that how it's structured and it is told that it is like a rabbit.
Yeah, Vedic understanding maybe
Even
it's already there because he had those this one Sri Vaishnava in Melukote. He had read in Mahabharata description about the earth, how it looks from moon. It is like two rabbits, some description is there, and a leaf.
rabbit and a leaf. Yeah.
And leaf. Then he did not understand what it meant. So it all got revealed in his one day. Then what else?
Beginning we were discussing the point
Of course, ultimately even Vedic knowledge is revealed knowledge, no?
Mm-hmm.
It was revealed in the heart of Brahma, Thene, Brahmaradayadi Kavaye, and other sages. Yeah.
beginning we were discussing that point that everyone wants to enter gopis pastimes, means in the pastimes as gopis. Prabhupada, when he writes, so somehow I have understood like that. It appears to me that that is the highest reciprocation with Krishna, and one is gradually advancing towards that stage. It's like Prabhupada writes recently in one purport I was reading in Bhagavatam that this love of Krishna, it gradually goes on and until the point of loving affairs with Krishna, like that.
Loving affairs with Krishna means only why you think that it is only
No,
gopis?
gopis is also used.
You are use the word gopis.
It is used in that.
Mm.
So it means one may think that one has to gradually advance till that stage.
See, sometime acharyas, they will write their own ecstasies. Prabhupada also said that my purports are my personal ecstasies, he says. For him, gopi bhav is his natural constitution. We don't know because Prabhupada did not say what is his relationship with Krishna, but other Gaudiya acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur revealed that he is Kamala Manjari. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is Nayana Mani Manjari. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. And in first chapter of Adi Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita, in one purport, Prabhupada says that all the Gaudiya acharyas were gopis in Krishna's pastimes, like that. Some statement Prabhupada makes. So when they are writing, sometime they will write their natural, spontaneous ecstasies. That doesn't mean that we will also be gopis in Krishna's pastimes. You may be, we don't know. You may be, I may be. But and also our mood is that we want to not to directly enjoy Krishna, we want to assist in devotees serving Krishna. Dasa dasa anudasa bhratya bhratya bhratyasya bhratya, like that. Even Mukundamala Kulashekara wrote like that. That is my understanding of that statement. I feel that is personal, they are personal. For them it is natural and spontaneous. It's personal ecstasies. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give the highest rasa, Gopi Bhav. That's why they started Gopi Bhav Club. So that is misunderstood, I feel. Ujjvala rasa means rasas of Vrindavan, Vraja Bhakti. Like in Vaikuntha, there is only up to Dasya, only two rasas, Shanta and Dasya rasa is there. But in Vrindavan, there is Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, which is not found in Vaikuntha. So Ujjvala rasa, my understanding is that he came to give this. Even Dasya and Shanta may be there that is also in Vaikuntha, but it's different. that sweetness of Vrindavan. That is the meaning of Ujjvala Rasam, in that verse. Which verse it is? Anarpiti Shriyam. That verse is there, no? It is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's reason for his descent. In that Ujjvala Rasa comes actually. So sometime in Prabhupada books also I have seen that. It's like Ujjvala Rasa is equated with, Shringara Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. That means all Gaudiyas are going to become gopis? No, obviously no. Because in Vrindavan only gopis are not there, their covered boys are also there. Right? Vraja Bhakti means all the rasas are there, 5 rasas. And first 2 which are found in Vaikuntha, they are also there but more sweeter than Vaikuntha. Like that it is. Sometimes statements are there like that. This is called Sadhya Tattva Vibramas, misconceptions about our goal of life. There are a lot of misconceptions. Many people, they left ISKCON in the initial stage, just after Prabhupada disappearance, because some Gaudiya Guru was said to them, I'll give you better bhakti, what Prabhupada has taught, like that. Some secret bhakti he wanted to teach them. So like that. These are all misconceptions actually. What secret bhakti any other than Prabhupada can teach actually? Because Prabhupada is the most empowered. We can see from his own